It is expected to be the single deadliest fire in Oakland history. KPIX5 is live with complete coverage. Jackie Ward has more on the man at the helm of the Ghost Ship Collective. But we begin with Ann Makovic and the latest from the scene. Ann?
And the latest number on the amount of people who have been killed, 36 bodies have been found in the warehouse. We're taking a live look right now from Chopper 5 above the scene here in Oakland, where work resumed this morning after it had been put on hold for about 9 hours overnight. Once the building was suddenly deemed structurally unsound, there was a wall that was in danger of collapsing onto recovery workers, so they had to put that whole operation on hold. They are now back in the warehouse searching for more bodies. Again, there have been 36 found. They believe there will be several more. So the other big piece of news that came out overnight was that the ATF has pinpointed where they believe this fire started. It is in the back of the building. So they also want recovery workers out of that area so that they make sure that that area is not affected, that they're able to preserve all of the evidence in the most efficient way possible so that they're eventually going to be able to get to the cause of this fire. I spoke earlier this morning with a woman who used to live in what was known as the Ghost Ship Collective, and she said she's not surprised to hear about this weekend's tragedy.
It was a hellhole. It was a death trap.
Seeing the images from Friday night's fire and hearing the news that dozens have died, Shelley Mack says she knows it could have been prevented.
They blocked the back stairway because they always run the electrical cords down the back stairway.
She describes the building like a maze with gas generators and propane tanks amongst illegal dwellings. The building was only permitted as a warehouse.
You know, the area that the roof collapsed was where we lived.
That's near the back of the house where this morning fire officials said the fire began.
We've got some areas where the steel is actually twisted and wrapped in the back of the building. We can see fire spread.
The ATF is now pinpointing its investigation there to try to find the cause. But at around midnight, the building was deemed too dangerous for the work to continue. So recovery workers had to put their mission of finding bodies on hold. The number remains at 36.
And we absolutely believe that the number of fire fatalities will increase.
Mack says she sounded the warning bell on the hazards.
Because the police were there I called them 3 times, told them everything. Other people did too.
Today, a police spokesperson says they are reviewing body camera footage for evidence.
If they should notice any criminal activity, we record it, we document it, we forward it.
City Council member Rebecca Kaplan says the city needs more fire prevention personnel.
That we need to get answers to those questions, both in terms of what went wrong, in terms of how we work to make sure it doesn't happen again.
For Mack, it's playing out in slow motion.
I saw people saying, oh, you know, it's just this art, it's such an accident, and I knew what happened. And I spoke out and nobody did anything.
And the next step this afternoon is to get some heavy equipment into this area so they can tear away some of the parts of the building that remain and be able to maybe find more of the bodies that they know are still trapped inside. So PG&E is actually going to shut off the power to this area in East Oakland for up to 12 hours while they bring in some cranes and some other heavy equipment so they can continue their recovery process. They say the investigation, obviously very important, but recovering those bodies is their #1 priority. Live in Oakland, I'm Ann Makovic. Michelle, back to you.
And thank you. As we said, the death toll is now up to 36, and that number is expected to rise. The faces of the fire victims are beginning to emerge. Investigators have positively identified 11 of the victims and delivered the news to their families. And we have learned the names of 7 of those victims. The process to identify all the victims could take days. A teenage victim is among those confirmed dead. San Francisco Unified School District administrators released a statement regarding the 11th grader from Ruth Asawa School of the Arts. It says in part, quote, "We share in the heartbreak of his family and will embrace them and each other. We must rise to this occasion and rally around each other with love, compassion, and support."
And as the investigation intensifies, a memorial is growing. Flowers, candles, and written notes line a street near the burned-down warehouse. That's where many friends and family members of the victims have been gathering, searching for answers.
He was there with his girlfriend.
Karen West has known Micah Danemeyer his entire life and says the 28-year-old was performing that night.
We haven't heard from him through any social media or phone calls.
I don't know how many more people are left in there.
Family members have been asked to preserve items like brushes and combs to help identify the dead through DNA.
This tragedy has hit very close to home for our agency. One of our deputies that we work with lost his son in this fire.
The victims are musicians, artists, and students. 32-year-old Donna Kellogg was a barista and studying for a degree in culinary arts in Oakland, according to the San Francisco Chronicle. 35-year-old Travis Huff was a member of the Oakland electronic band Ghost of Lightning. On Facebook, his aunt wrote, "There are no words for this loss." Randy Wittenhauer needed to speak about his son Chase. The 32-year-old was bartending the night of the fire, and county officials confirmed his death Sunday night. Randall says raising Chase's stepbrother won't be easy.
Every time I see Liam, Chase is going to pop right into my mind. It feels so painful right now. In the end, maybe it will be a blessing.
Investigators say their primary focus all weekend has been the search and recovery of the victims, and once that is completed, they'll determine whether criminal charges will be filed.